Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Cybernox here, and today we are going to be looking back at the Xbox One generation. That's right, we're going to be looking back and talk about some of the things that we liked, some of the things that we didn't like so much, some of our favorite games, and how we see the future of Xbox looking. And to do just that, to get everything off our chest, I have two of my regulars here, my boys. First, I got Cotton the Cast. How you doing, man? It's been a while.
It has been a while. I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Glad to be back. Glad to share some stories. Glad to do my first podcast. I'm ready to talk about this. It's a long generation.
We stupid as he likes to call it on Twitter.
Absolutely fantastic to be back, discussing passion for Xbox Series. So it's exciting. There's actually a good time.
So, first of all, while everybody is trickling in, everybody's getting situated, let's talk about, just quickly, you guys playing anything? You guys...
Oh, are we?
You guys are playing? So, Kai, are you playing any game right now, man?
Playing about one game right now. Only game I was playing last week is Cyberpunk.
Play it with Xbox Game Pass.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no spoilers. I think I spent 12 hours before I got to the title screen. So
Games play best on Xbox One.
There's some bugs. I'm playing on the Series X, and most I saw bug-wise is like some stuff. There's a lot of pop-in every now and then like randomly vehicles just flying through the air when you're driving, like especially on the Badlands, like kind of like they're spawning in, but they're like spawning into the sky. That stuff is I don't know. To me, it's almost expected to be like this big, you know, like especially at launch. Since the first update they released, it looks better. It's been running a lot smoother for me. I haven't had any crashes or freezing or anything. But dude, I'm like, at this point, I'm like 70 hours into the game. It's been out a week.
Yeah, listen, I've been trying to play it live. I've also been playing Cyberpunk. I've been trying to play it on Twitch. Shameless plug right here, twitch.tv for Cybernox. So I've been trying to follow it, with everyone. So, but I've only got about like 3.5, maybe 4 hours in. And that's a dense game, man. No, man. Listen, shout out to Pong Soul. He was in the chat with me the whole time, and then he said, "Listen, don't worry about it. It took me 35 hours. He was around 40 hours still, and he was still in the prologue. So you're good." So you're good. Yeah, man. So he's looking at everything. He's doing everything that he can. But Tempest, man, I think you might be on that boat as well, huh?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, my wife has her headphones in and she's playing it right behind me. We're both on it. We both are like 40 hours deep. I believe I'm in Act 1. From what I understand, there's the prologue, 2 acts, and then like a finale, and then like an epilogue.
Okay.
I'm still in Act 1. So I have one more thing to do, and I'll be out of Act 1, but I don't know, man. One of my top 3 games of all time is the first Mass Effect, and technically speaking, I kind of liked the second one more, but I hold the one that started it all in such high regard. So bottom line is like Mass Effect 1 and 2 are kind of like in my top 3 of games of all time, and I haven't been this hooked and this into a game since 2010, Mass Effect 2. This is the type of that feeling when like you're at work and you're actually kind of like pissed off you're working. You're like, I be home playing.
Play
You know?
this game. Yeah.
Just want to play, and then like I talk to my wife on the phone, and her and I will be talking about it while I'm at work. You know? It's one of those deals.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing about it is, when you saw the marketing material for it, you really did believe that they were going to do things in it that just were never done before. Absolutely not the case. Not the case. It is quite literally like GTA, a BioWare game, and maybe like a dash of like a Bethesda game, all like got together and had a baby, and that's what this is.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just what they do is all the side missions. Every mission has so much detail crammed into it, so much good dialogue, everything. It's just, I don't know, man. Like every mission to me, every side job has been like at least an 8 out of a 10 as far as quality goes. Everything in it is just, I can't get enough of it. I can't get enough of it. I love it.
Yeah, dude. I agree 100%.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to dive in more into it. I'm in the same boat as both of you guys. I kind of wanted to, keep diving in. And yeah, go ahead.
I just see a lot of people like, should I play it? Should I play it?
Oh yeah, I was literally about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, what I will say is, in real time, I was watching Courtney play it, and it like something happened, and I don't know if it was just a random crash or because the update got pushed. So we were playing in performance mode, and the game literally crashed. Well, the Xbox has a ridiculously quick download speed, at least mine does. So the game patched in about 5 minutes. So we only had like a 5-minute break between playing it pre-patch and then patch. The second it booted up and we saw it, we were like, whoa! That was like our reaction. We're like, what happened? I'm like, does this look sharper to you? She's like, yeah, I think it does. We're like, oh my god. So we're sitting, and it was smoother. This latest
There's
patch,
only been one patch, right? One patch?
Just one.
1.104,
came
right?
out like, yeah, and it came out like 2 days after the game released, and the difference that it made just absolutely blew my mind. So I feel for the people not on a Series S or Series X. If you're on Xbox, I honestly, I feel it for everybody, and I'm not. They deserve all the crap they're getting for that. But as far as the Series X, man, like, don't wait, because in my opinion, at times, it's the best looking game on console on the market. At times, even though it doesn't have the patch yet, it's just, it looks awesome. So
nice. Big shout out to Stubbs. He's Stubbs Gaming. He's on the chat. Hope you're doing good too, man, with your name. And Blame Nation, thanks so much for Blame Nation Network. It's the text is a little low on my end. Thank you so much for hitting that subscribe button. Anyways, so guys, let's move on forward with what we came here to talk about, and that's the Xbox One generation. Okay, so the Xbox One, just for a little bit of context here, was released back in 2013. It was met with a lot of skepticism right from E3, and we're watching the E3 showcase right now, and it was actually, in my opinion, it was actually pretty well done. Just the system overall didn't get too much hype because it was concentrated more as a media console, not a gaming console, and it took a lot of
no greater good.
Took a lot of shit for it, if I may be honest. There were a lot of things a lot of ideas back when this console was released that actually came into fruition as we moved along. But let's talk about at the beginning, 2013, when this console's launched. After watching the press conference, after it was released in November, what was your first reaction? Tempest, I'll start with you, man. What was your first reaction to this console?
Well, when they did the reveal.
Oh, first of all, wait. Did you happen to get one, or did you?
No, I got mine. I got mine about 2 to 3 days after launch.
Okay.
And I guess I have a story for that too. But the reveal, I was at work. I don't watch YouTube. I listen to YouTube. So I had my phone in my pocket, my earbuds in, back in 13. I was just listening to it happen, and just listening to it, I was, it's nothing I wanted to hear. Like when their first thing they showed was some sports games, and I know a lot of people love sports games, but I just like don't care. Just like don't care.
Yeah.
And did find it odd there was so much TV stuff. Back then, yeah, TV was a little bit more of a thing still, but I thought it was weird. I had no idea what other people were thinking, but apparently, like, this is the worst thing ever. Like, hell froze over. I don't know, man. It was just terrible. Like, the response to it. The, is it DMR? No, DRM stuff. Yeah, DRM. I'm sure you're going to bring that up. That was the other thing. That if you actually found out what they were planning to do, like at one point, we were going to be able to share a purchased game between like 10 people.
Right.
You know, all this crazy stuff that on paper, I was all for. But nobody else was any part of it.
It's too advanced for it.
Yeah.
They were ahead of their time, exactly.
But nobody wanted to point out the fact that what they were trying to do was just pretty much another version of what we had seen for like years before that. So very strange. Yeah, but the reveal wasn't great. Even for me, who was totally unplugged to the rest of the world, just listening to it.
Right.
It wasn't great. It wasn't what I was looking for. Disappointed, to say the least. You know, but that's how I took it. So
yeah. So just to give a little extra context here, these were the games that were at launch on November 22nd, 2013. Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, Battlefield 4, Call of Duty Ghost, Crimson's Dragon, Dead Rising 3, FIFA 14, Fighter Within, Forza Motorsport 5, Just Dance 2014, Killer Instinct, Lego Marvel Superheroes, Local Psycho, Madden NFL 25, NBA 2K14, NBA Live 14, Need for Speed Rivals, Power Star Golf, Rise Son of Rome, Skylanders, Swap Force, Xbox Fitness, Zoo Tycoon, Zumba Fitness World Party. And during that launch window, Titanfall came out, Project Spark, Wolfenstein came out, The New Order, Minecraft for Xbox, and then I think We Connect as well. So they had, kind of like what you said though, they had a lot of sports games on this launch. But did you pick up any games at all once you got your system? Did you? And while you were talking about some of the features that they had, was there a feature that you would have kept?
Yeah, the snapping feature. Yeah, the snapping. Yeah, especially because we have the horsepower now. I'm a little. I wish that we still had the snap feature. Besides that, though, I like the way things are now. It wasn't the end of the world, the UI, but it wasn't fantastic. The biggest problem with it was clunky. But, you know, for all its shortcomings on that part of it, I had like every game that came out with it, pretty much. Every game that I was playing. And I have to tell you, I didn't have a games problem. In fact, just the opposite. I thought it was shaping up to be an unbelievably good generation for them. Clear up until, I'd say, like, I think it was 2015 or 16 where they had the marketing for Rise of the Tomb Raider. That came out. That was by far my favorite game that year. After that year, it was a little sus.
Save some of your favorite games because we're going to talk about it later. Okay,
I will. But
we're just talking
as far as launch games, though, dude, to this day, I run the tune of the one spider chick in Killer Instinct. I literally think of the song and I play it back in my head. I used to crank the music up super loud on Killer Instinct. I used to blare my sound system, play it as loud as I possibly could. I played the heck out of Killer Instinct. That game was that was worth the console to me alone. And then the other launch games were, in my eyes, fantastic as well. It had an amazing launch, but
it did, yeah. I thought it had a pretty strong launch, so yeah.
Yeah, I was very happy with the game side of things, and of course the controller was amazing to this day. That controller is fantastic. So, that was my experience with the launch of it, though. So.
Okay. Cotton Man, talk to us. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you didn't like. Tell us some of the games that you picked up. Tell us some of the features that you would have picked.
Right.
Maybe even till this day.
Yeah, no, I remember specifically watching this E3. I was in New York at the time, and I was just at the point where I was always like, I was still 2013, and I was like, that's like my senior year of high school, and I'm fresh off of games like what just came out 2012, Halo 4, all this stuff. So I was pretty heavy playing a lot at this point. So I was stoked for E3 when they came out and kind of started off with their sports stick and whatnot. I wasn't too stoked, but I felt like one of the rare people who was like, when I saw Kinect, I was like, yo, what is this next level technology I've never seen? It's like this is the Wii without Wiimotes right now. It's like, what is happening? That project, that Milo, that little best friend you could have. I was like,
oh my god, you just bringing back memories. I remember watching that. I was just like, whoa.
No, I was blowing my mind. I literally was mind blown. I was like, I'm ready for this. But I actually didn't even get the console at launch. I almost didn't get it for a year because I was just not working and I was being a bum, to be honest. I was just playing my 360.
You were enjoying life, all right?
That's what I was doing. I was mostly in New York at the time doing a bunch of like community service stuff. So I was just kind of living vicariously and playing like Halo 4 when I could. But a lot of my friends did get it, and I went to the midnight release with some of my friends, and they got it. This is actually the only Xbox I didn't get at the launch. But I remember going back to his house and immediately playing Rise and being like mind blown, being completely mind blown, and then booting up games like Call of Duty Ghosts, which wasn't the most well received, but that one was. We liked the campaign on that one, and like it felt smooth. Like how it was the first Call of Duty where it was like I think they had like the contextual leaning, and some of the maps were like had like destructible, like you could get kill streaks that would change the map. Playing games like Black Flag, which I think dropped on the 360 as well.
Yes, it did.
Right? But it just looked better, man. It's like there was a few like Battlefield 4.
We like bikes.
Oh my god, that game! I spent so much time in Battlefield 4.
Favorite Battlefield.
Today I'm proud to present
the launch titles were great, but all the like the technical stuff with like the always online thing. I felt like one of the only people who I knew. Me and like my circle of friends were like hyped about this because one, we were always playing online anyways, so that didn't really phase us, and then the fact that what Tempest has spoke on, that you were going to be able to essentially license, transfer, share with like a group of people. Like that was so ahead of the curve in thinking. Like it's kind of similar to what we were doing already and what you could do on Steam, like you said, but since they've added license transfer, before it was like making your home Xbox somewhere else, like I've been doing it since I could, because one, I'm saving money, and then my friends can have games I can have, and it seems like you could have this full circle of like, okay, one of us buys one game a year, and we're good, you know what I mean? But that stuff didn't come to fruition. People were kind of they were skeptical about, the Kinect having the camera and the mic, and are they watching, are they listening? As if, smartphones were probably doing that at the time anyways, but like, it's just crazy to see how things have progressed, and I just feel like I've always
full circle, right?
About this because it always felt like, what would it be like now if they stuck with that sort of model, you know what I mean? Because I feel like things are getting closer to that sort of style now. I don't think they'd ever let people share a game with 10 people now because they'd be losing out on some money. But back then, I was excited for that. I think I got the console like about a little less than a year out, and I think it was right when they ported over GTA 5, and I just had to play in first person again, and that was like the end all be all for me at the time.
Hey, Cyber, real quick.
I didn't even know the audio for that was on. I was supposed to be muted. Sorry, guys. That's on me. My bad. Absolutely. Sorry, Con. We cut you off. My bad. Keep going, man.
Oh no, it's good. It's good if they couldn't hear me anyways. I was just rambling anyways.
No, man.
I don't know. I was one of the few people I felt like saw that presentation and was like, this seems like some futuristic technology, and I'm gonna be able to share this all my games with all my friends, and I was so on board. And then to see like think that was the first time I saw Angry Joe, because he made that video about their E3 conference and it like blew up.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, oh my God, like people hate this. They hate it. Like they really
Yeah.
hate this right now. Like
Yeah.
they're, but I think it all kind of worked out for the best, given who we have in charge nowadays and the way things are running with Game Pass and whatnot.
Right.
Mhm.
So for me, I'm on a similar boat as you guys. I was so hyped for this Xbox One just because we were coming off the Xbox 360, and it's probably one of my top favorite consoles of all time is the Xbox 360, without a shadow of a doubt. So I was so hyped. I like kind of like what you guys mentioned too. If there was any feature that I would want to have that they would have kept, it would have been that, game share and family sharing, like the games. It was gonna be up to 10 people. You can share a game up to 10 people, and the DRM. I just don't think they did a poor job marketing or clarifying this to the public. It was just something that everybody knows what the DRM is. It's just checking back and forth for their service, blah blah blah. But it was just a way to. So if anybody in your circle, right, is able to play that game, it needs to consistently also, ping back to the server and say, hey, okay, this person's okay to play. They just marketed this thing, like the wording on it, the way I couldn't believe that it got so much negativity, and I was just like, what's going on here? They're gonna let us share this thing. But that was one of the features. But we do have game sharing now, quote unquote, which a lot of us do now. I game share with a family member as well, which is
it's like a feature. It's not even an actual feature. It's like a workaround. Yeah. And Phil's even spoken about interviews about how publishers and stuff think about it. So everybody knows it's there. Knows it's not it's not a quote unquote feature. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if they would have went through and did what they're actually advertising, it would have been a feature. And
for sure,
like I said, it was one of those things where I heard it, I saw it, and I saw the potential. Yeah, I saw change, and not everybody likes change, but man, it's like, the biggest complaint I saw is, you have daily check-in. I'm like, I didn't, at that time, even in 2013, I didn't know a single person that played video games in my life. I'm talking about like numerous friends, family, that didn't play with their console constantly online.
Exactly. Same here. Especially with Call of Duty being so big at that time too. Yeah. Like it was insane.
Yeah. So it was bizarre. To this day, I still don't understand why things were the way they were with the general public.
I just remember I picked up so many games for the Xbox One. I think I went a little overboard. I picked up Dead Rising 3. I picked up Rise Son of Rome. I picked up obviously FIFA, big sports guy. Forza Motorsport. I picked up Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I picked up. It was I picked up a lot of games, but yeah, one thing that nobody mentioned. What you guys think? How did you like the look of the console?
I'll go first because this actually speaks to me a little bit. I personally, I'll be honest with you, I actually really liked it. I really liked it, and I liked it for a reason. It reminded me of a lot of the equipment my dad had when I was a child.
Okay.
Growing up, he used to have Laserdisc players. If you've ever seen a Laserdisc, it looks like a weapon. It's just literally a CD. If you've never seen one before, look it up. They were known to have like uncompressed audio and stuff. It's sometimes as big as the disc was. Like I'm talking, if you've never seen one, it's hilarious. Look it up. They were these giant CDs pretty much, or DVDs, whatever. And my dad was a big audio video dude, and he used to have massive equipment. Some of the receivers and stuff he had, or the mixers or the sound amplifiers and stuff, they used to have like wood paneling on them. I mean, they used to make things different back then. So when I saw the size of the Xbox and how it looked, it just kind of hit me because I've seen stuff like that growing up. So I personally,
a bit of nostalgia there for you.
Yeah, right? It was like a little bit of nostalgia picking that thing up. I thought it was cool. So
awesome. How about you, Con, man? What'd you think? How'd that console look for you? Yeah,
I wasn't like at all in the mindset of like, oh, it's a beast, like it's a huge VCR or anything like that. I liked the black. I liked it was how sleek it looked, like, like fine edges and lines. I mean, I was always a fan of the Elite Xbox 360, just the black look, and like compared to the original Xbox and how big that one was. Because I know a lot of people were like, "Man, that thing was so massive." But I mean, I liked it. I thought it was cool and sleek. And then when they came out with the Xbox One S way later down, how
Yeah.
much smaller it was, then I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, we're gonna
They
get
really,
to that
but
like right
I
now.
thought it looked good. Yeah, I thought it looked good, dude. I
Awesome.
had no problems with it at all.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I didn't love the design, but I didn't really hate it at all either. At first, I was just like, oh, the design on screen and everything that we saw, I thought it was like, oh, it looks a little sleek. But when you got it on, like when you saw it, there was something about it I was just like, man, this thing is bulky. It's got
It
this
is bulky,
tooth.
dude.
It was bulky. Like the vent on top was, I was just like, okay,
For sure.
it
Yeah.
doesn't look like what I thought it would be, but I mean, I'm still an Xbox fan to this day, but I wasn't a fan of it, nor did I hate it. So I was like right on the fence. I was just like, it's going to do what I
Yeah.
wanted to do.
But
So I'm good.
it wasn't anything that was like, dang, I really like the look of that. But it was like, I was just more worried about how the features and how it's
Yep.
going to run and, things like that. I was never really, I feel like this time around with this current generation that we just received is the first time where I've been like very interested in just like the build and the aesthetic of the console itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. All right, all right. So if we move on, just 1 year later, Don Matrick he resigned as head of Xbox. Just a year later, because that launch and everything that came afterwards, it was just like they went from a high straight down. So they hit that bottom real quick, and a new person took head of Xbox, and his name is Phil Spencer. Once he took over on 2014, there was a lot of people who were doubting if what Xbox could even do at that point. But I think that was the turning point. Phil Spencer becoming head of Xbox. So the first thing I believe that he started doing is he wanted to change the this power narrative that got thrown all over, during launch. So kind of what Cotton alluded to, he introduced the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X a year after. What did you guys think about when Phil became, head of Xbox? What do you think it meant for the platform? Cotton, I'll go to you first, man.
I mean, it was a big turning point, and you're still seeing like the ramifications, or I guess the bonuses, or whatever the positive word is for that. Everything that's come to follow from him taking the lead is still showing and coming to fruition today. I don't know, everything that has been put in place. This dude's been kind of a visionary. He had some goals and a plan from the get-go, and he's really stuck to those and made them happen, and really is turning Xbox back around to, I feel like it's really going to come full swing in these next couple of years with all of these purchases and games they're working on. But with the services he's made, they're going to be coming back into it at prime time, like how they were with the 360, where I honestly didn't know anyone who wasn't playing on the 360 at that time. I feel like it's going to be, it might not be that to that level, but it's going to be getting there pretty close. And I think he's done nothing but good by the brand, man. Like the fact that they made me want to buy an Xbox One S the day it came out, and then a year later I turned around and bought an Xbox One X.
Yep.
Says something,
And I also like the transparency that they had there too. They announced the One S, and then they said, "Hey, listen, next year we're gonna have another one coming out. It's gonna be the world's most powerful at that time." I thought that was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Tempest, how about you, man? Once Phil took over Xbox, what'd you think?
you wouldn't really see the direction that he wanted to take anything for kind of years to come, but
Right.
immediately he feels like a very approachable person. I liked his personality and his demeanor, if you will, immediately. Loved it, in fact. So I immediately thought it was a good switch, and I guess when you really speak on him, to me, you can sum it up in one way. He got the number one or number two wealthiest company on the planet to go all in on gaming, and they didn't have that before. It was a side project. I don't think they really cared, and it shows because most of the moves that they made weren't gamer first, really.
Right.
And he changed that. And right now, he's one of the honestly the top dogs at Microsoft.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, he
Became-
sits there.
Yep. He's on the executive
Yeah.
board. Yep.
Exactly. So to see that turnaround, it's hard to imagine any form of a division of a company like Microsoft. Like I said, like the number one or two wealthiest company in the world. When you think about Microsoft not giving Xbox a division of theirs money, it's a very real thing. And would I have rather have seen him keep the weak hardware and not put their stamp on it, because the One X was superior to the PS4 Pro by a good deal too. And until we got these new consoles, it was the most powerful console in the world, right?
Right.
That's where he decided to take the company with the funding he had at the time, before they really were able to turn things around, and he got to sit at the big boy table, really.
Yeah.
He had a choice, and he said this, it was pretty much games start trying to work on games with no first party studios, or you fix the hardware, and he fixed the hardware. And now I think going forward, if you want to think about console gaming and a strong console, next gen features, you name it, you're going to think Microsoft, you're going to think Xbox now. And I don't think he ever wants to lose that title, if you will, right? So we haven't even mentioned a little thing called Game Pass yet, but when he announced that, I thought, oh, cool. I never thought it was going to turn into what it is, and I don't know, man. He's just. I know he would give credit to his team, a large portion of all the good that's came out of things recently to his team, but I honestly believe it was like 98% Phil Spencer that turned things around. I love the guy. I love hearing him speak. I don't know. He's just that one guy that when he speaks, I listen, and I generally feel like I learn something, or I'm at least listening to a genuine person who just happens to have like the most kick-ass job on the planet.
Yeah, I was about to say, you can tell how genuine he is when he speaks,
Yeah.
and how he actually cares for gamers, not just the company of Microsoft and Xbox. And
Yeah.
I think it was interesting too. Like, he was given an interview. I can't remember if it was The Verge, and at that point, kind of like everyone alluded to, they've mentioned that Xbox was Satya Nadella had like questioning of why there was an Xbox division, and Phil made him believe that he could turn the Xbox division around, just give him a chance. And I think he spoke about that meeting. Don't quote me on this, but he says, everything that we do in Microsoft, we need to think about billions of people. We can't just think about a small market, or cut ourselves off from everybody. We have to see how we can help and how everyone can benefit from us, because of a company of that scale. It's their duty, it's their responsibility for them to do something in that nature. And with that, they introduced a little gaming service, a subscription service called Xbox Game Pass. I think it changed the game. Okay. Xbox Game Pass was released, and it's early. I still think it's it's in its infancy still, and it's still going to keep growing. 2017, Xbox Game Pass was introduced. Tempest, man, what'd you think about it? When you first heard about Xbox Game Pass, what was your initial thought behind it?
So my initial thought was I had no idea of the potential of it. I thought it was going to be what it actually was the first few months. I will say Game Pass the first few months was just an okay service, really.
Mm-hmm.
There was one simple change that they made that I actually thought that they should do that I never thought they'd do. But when they announced that they were going to do the first party games day and date,
Yeah,
that was it. That was the change. I don't care how long it was going to take. I said right there when that change happened, I said they're going to be on top. They are going to be the ones that are eventually going to be, back in the day, people wouldn't say what game console you played. You could be playing on a PlayStation, and a lot of people just be like, oh, you playing Nintendo?
Yeah.
They won't care. They just attributed Nintendo with gaming. I said when they made that change, eventually you're going to get to the point where, they're going to be the Nintendo. They're going to be just gaming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really do think it's going to get there eventually, because the service speaks for itself now. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
absolutely ridiculous. It's completely changed how I game. It's actually changed that. I've been doing the same thing for gaming ever since the Super Nintendo days. You see a game you want, you go buy the thing,
Right.
And I just changed my gaming habits. I'm playing games that I never thought I'd play. One of my favorite games in the last couple of years, honestly, was Indivisible. I never would have touched that game before. I always would have looked at it and liked the art. I always thought it looked cool, but I never would have spent the $40 on it, which is the sad part about it. I'm ashamed of it, but I played it,
I
love
think
it,
that's
and
fair
I'll play a
because
bunch of stuff like that
yeah,
now.
so many people are in the same boat as you. There's so many games that I look at times and I'm like, oh, that looks interesting, that looks nice, but I never pull the trigger because at the end of the day, that's not what I'm accustomed to.
Yeah.
And that's not what I'm used to playing and things like that. And Game Pass just facilitates that for you. It just says, hey, just give me $10, $15 a month, and anything that's in here you can play. It's just it's a bit surreal sometimes at how many games there are in there. And like I said, in all the games that they're releasing right now, I said this on the Indie Gamers podcast. Shout out to him, man. He's gonna have an amazing show, the Indie Awards, guys, this Saturday. Make sure you check it out. Indy, please tell everybody on the chat what I forgot what time. I'm sorry, but yeah. I told him everybody has infinite backlog now. It's insane. Like I cannot keep up with games no more. It's crazy. Finding time to play, it's hard.
I also want to point this out, and I don't think enough people have really looked at it objectively and realized what happened. But the service has come such a long way so quickly. Do you realize that we had the equivalent of an E3 presentation, and every single game that they showed was day and date on Game Pass, except one, and that was Crossfire X that you have to purchase.
That one had a little asterisk next to it.
It did. It did. Yeah, they told you.
I'm like, what's going on over there?
Yeah, I know. But out of one game, the rest of it, an entire E3 it wasn't E3, but you know what I'm saying. Entire E3 presentation was Game Pass, and that wasn't even the end of it. There was more that they could have announced, insane. And I besides like Ubisoft games and Cyberpunk, like I haven't had to purchase much, man. I just haven't. And well, I did technically purchase it. It's my subscription. It's a Game Pass, It's I love it, man. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Same here. Cotton.
So
talk to us, man. Game Pass. Dude. When you first heard about it, did you believe in it? Were you a believer from the get-go?
I got it right away, but I wasn't really sure. Yeah, I had no idea the potential of it, kind of like the way Tempest was saying. And I mean, it wasn't it. He's right, dude. It changed the way that I started consuming video games, like from the start. Because like at the time, 2017, what was I playing? I don't even know what I was playing. It was like the standard Call of Duty that comes out every year, and dipping into like playing Minecraft with people, like just playing random games all the time. But then that started turning into, oh, this game's in Game Pass. Yo, let's all try and jump on this game. Let's see what this is about, and just finding crazy games, right? And it's only gone up from there. I had it from the release, and then later, I think it was a year later when they announced Game Pass Ultimate in 2018. I'm pretty sure, and it was going to become available to the public in 2019, but it was available to the Xbox insiders that same day, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was in the testing for it, and there was just a few more titles, and I was like, this is next level. And like when they started bringing games day and date, like you said, first party, it changed the game. And ever since then, I've been preaching the same thing I hear all the time from anyone who really knows, especially Boom on his show. He's saying, Game Pass is the best thing since sliced bread. Like, I can't deny that's not the truth at this point, because like when a game like Gears 5 comes out, the Ultimate Edition, and the Ultimate Edition is in Game Pass, and then you're going to have more games, and now they own all these studios, and the insane deal they did for what people thought was only going to be like the initial month of like, oh, get Game Pass for $1, and it'll convert all your current subscription to gold, to Game Pass Ultimate.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Like, but I thought that was only gonna be for a month, so I'm telling all my friends, run out, buy some gold, go do this,
stack up for 3 years, hurry up,
quick. Yeah, and everyone does it, and they're like, how is this working? I'm like, it's just a promotion, but then like, it still does that to an extent.
Yeah. I think there's a ratio, a conversion ratio right now that it does, yeah.
For sure, but it's a killer deal at base cost level. Like at the base entry point for Game Pass Ultimate, it's especially if you're someone who, like, I have a coworker who's like a casual gamer to the T, right? Like he'll play his Madden, NHL maybe every now and then, like when he's got nothing else to do and he's hanging at home with his dog or whatever. Otherwise he's like in the gym or at work or working 2-3 jobs. He's very casual, but he came to me asking me if I knew about Game Pass, because if he should get it, and I was like, yeah, 100% get it, especially if you want to play like FIFA 20. If you haven't played FIFA 20, like all these EA games are in there now, sports games. Like if you're not the person who's going to go out and buy the new 21 right now for $60, but you want to play, like, they got throwback NHL 94 on there, one of the best NHL. Like there's sports games, there's games for everybody on Game Pass. Whether you're going to play this one, maybe not. Someone else will. Someone else might end up buying that game. It's good for gamers. It's good for the brand. It's good for, apparently, the devs get money from it too. I've never heard anything bad about that. Only people just being like, why would you not support the devs? You can still buy the game and own it, and there's nothing negative about it. Yeah, from what I've seen or experienced, and it seems like it's only going to go up from here with all the studios they have, and I'm nothing but impressed. I've always been telling everyone, well, if you have Xbox Live Gold, just get Game Pass.
Right.
Like it's that simple, because it's hand in hand, and you're going to have more games to play, and it's not that much more of a steep price, especially if you already have Gold. Just upgrade. Just do it, right? No brainer.
Oh. For sure. I 100% agree. When I first heard about it back in 2017, I kind of already saw the potential. I couldn't believe that they were offering you so many games for, $10 a month or whatever it was. And there were so many deals when they first introduced it that it was like dirt cheap for you to get like a year of Game Pass, 6 months and things like that. And the big difference of Game Pass too was you could download your games. It wasn't like I think PS Plus, right? PS
Now.
PS Now was doing it where you were only be
streaming
it. Or as
King David calls it, PS Later.
Yeah.
PS Later.
So I think it changed the game, because you would play the game to its full fidelity, like exactly like you're renting the game, but you downloading the game, you're playing the game as is intended to be played. It was amazing, man. I saw the potential way back in the beginning, and kind of like what you said, when they announced it back in, I think it was in January of 2018, when they said, you know what, all our first party games are going to come day and date to Xbox Game Pass. I was just like, wow, I was blown away. I was just like, man, this is going to change. This may change change the way that we look at gaming going forward, right? For example, I know you mentioned King David. He says that he holds off on a lot of games now because if Microsoft has a marketing deal, potentially that game is coming like to Game Pass. You know, look at look at all these games that are coming out now, and even some of the bigger AAA titles have come to Game Pass. They may have not stayed as long, but Red Dead Redemption was there. You know, Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm sorry, was there. Look at the games that we just got. We just got Control in there. You know, Greedfall's there. You know, obviously, Doom 2016 was on there before this whole deal was even made. You know, like they have an substantial amount of games in that service, which is it's crazy. Hivebuster is Hivebusters, the new Gears DLC.
Yeah.
Right there, day and day, and that game looks amazing. I actually want to try that. But yeah, me too.
I also, if I could say something on the topic,
of course. I was just gonna say one thing, and then you guys can answer as you finished. I was just gonna say, do you think this changed the way that we actually play or purchase our games going forward too?
I do, and that's what I was going to touch on, because I said it changed the way I game, and nothing but in positive ways. But it kind of changed in how King David goes about things. And he says he rarely ever buys his games anymore because there's such a good chance it's going to end up on Game Pass. You might think to yourself, well, doesn't that like hurt the publishers? Doesn't that hurt the developers? You know, I don't really think it does, because a lot of stuff doesn't go in there day and date. And if it does go in there day and date, it's generally speaking, Microsoft probably, you know, fronted so much money to them that it is worth it to the company to do so. Or what a lot of games do is they come out after they've already been out for a while. And the way it rolls is if you really want to play a game, you're going to buy that game. Like there was no way in the world I was going to wait for Cyberpunk to hit Game Pass, which I think that's going to happen. Don't know when that's going to happen, but it's going to. I can guarantee you it's going to happen. Yeah, I'm not about to wait for that. I really wanted to play Cyberpunk. Right. You know, so the people that want to play these games day and date, if they're not going to Game Pass right away, if I wasn't willing to buy a game right away and I said, I'll wait for Game Pass, that's just because I wasn't really that invested enough that I wanted to purchase that game in the first place. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And generally when they bring these games out, it's after they've been out for a while. And it's like an injection. It's like a new I don't know, dose of life in the game. You know, it helps it out. Plus, they probably get money from Microsoft for having their game on the service. So, if anything, I feel in the long run, it's just flat out going to help many developers, especially like indie developers or mid-tier developers, stuff like that. I think they're going to see the best results from it. So that's my take.
Sure.
Yeah, for
Colin,
sure.
How about you, man?
Definitely. I think it changes a lot of people's perspective on how they're going to go about buying games. I was going to say the same thing that Timpa said. If there's a game that you're simply not going to wait for, if you're one of those people who's going to buy Call of Duty when it comes out, it's not a game in Game Pass, but just as an example, like you're on the grind in multiplayer to get max rank. Like you're racing that, or I would use the example Destiny. Like you're gonna buy the new expansion because you want to get powered up and do that raid the day it comes out. That's in Game Pass now. It blows my mind that's in Game Pass, but it is. Those games, there's always going to be those games.
Well,
but
EA...
I think
go ahead. Sorry.
I just think the deals that they make with these devs, especially smaller devs, it's only giving them more eyes on their product than they probably wouldn't have gotten. And more people playing it and just getting their name out there. It's just helping a lot of even games like Grounded. You know what I mean? Like that game has gotten, I would say, double the amount of people playing it easily than it would have gotten.
Look at Sea of Thieves. I just read an article. 11 million players still playing that. I was like, it's insane.
And they have so much stuff to do. Like, and the fact that they have games like when they dropped Gears Ultimate Edition, and now that comes with all the DLC, right? And the new DLC just dropped, and it's in Game Pass. And the fact that
I want to do a quick correction on that. Stubbs Gaming, shout out to him. He's on chat. He just let me know. The new Hive Busters DLC is only for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, so it's not on regular Game Pass because now they're know different tiers. So you have to have the highest tiers to receive pretty much all of the benefits of all these games.
I'll sound bougie and just say if you're buying Game Pass, just buy Game Pass Ultimate.
Makes 0 sense not to do it that way. You save $5 a month, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's just me. I don't know if everyone thinks that way or not, but I do have a hard time saying Ultimate when I'm referring to Ultimate all the time. Yeah. But like even like classic, like Red Dead was in there. That is so huge. If Cyberpunk comes there, I know everyone says it will. I couldn't wait for that. But like, okay, even a throwback an old school game with all of its DLC, Skyrim just came out. Like with all.
Oh my god!
Like the Ultimate.
I'll never finish that game.
But I mean, just think about that, dude. Like that's crazy.
Insane.
I haven't done like all of the Dragonborn DLC or anything like that. Like playing through Cyberpunk makes me want to go back to the last game that made me feel the way I feel playing this game, which was Skyrim back in 2011. It's changed the way I spend my money, and I play more games and games than I wouldn't have played. So
yeah, I think
I love it.
Yeah, me too, man. I think it's an amazing service. Something that you did mention, there are those people that play or they'll buy those games that they really want to buy, right? But with the integration or with EA merging in there with EA Play, it kind of makes you do a double take, right? Sometimes there are those casuals that like I know a lot of my friends, they'll wait till like Black Friday or when there's like a deep sale on the sports games, and then they'll buy it. Now with Game Pass, I tell them, listen, if you're if you want to try new games, just buy it on here, because by the time you're waiting for those sales, it's that FIFA 2021 or Madden 2021, whatever, it's probably going to be on EA Play, and EA Play is on Game Pass. So now you're getting this this more a huge catalog here for pretty much what you were going to pay for it anyway. So it's at least you can try different games if that's what you want to do, Right. So I think it gives them that question. Yeah, but
the fact that they got there's like xCloud is in Game Pass now, dude.
Yeah,
like there's so many things with Game Pass. Like that's a whole nother thing unto itself. It's like not like a double whammy with EA Play, but like you can play all of this on the go, and it works fantastically. Just take my money 2 times. You know what I mean?
It's insane, man. Oh, and they just keep adding more and more games. It's like nonstop. When we were when I was on Indies, they showed on his podcast what was it, last week? Yeah, last week. They showed the or 2 weeks ago, I apologize. They showed all the games that were coming out in December, and we were looking over them, and within that image that they had shown, there were like 3 or 4 games that I was interested in, right? And so was everyone on the panel. So I'm like, where do you there's no way, man. It's insane. The value proposition that's on Game Pass, it's by far like the best I've ever seen. And I thoroughly enjoy it, man. I want to try Dragon Quest right now. That's on there. That's something that I never would have, tried or bought on my own. But it's a turn-based, pretty much JRPG that I'm not used to, or not really. That's not really my bag. Right. But because it's there, I'm more keen to try it. Which I think it's amazing. And I think Xbox Game Pass is gonna do a lot to change, I think, how people, purchase their games, kind of like we've been alluding to. So,
plus, you just spoke on it. You said Dragon Quest. Another one that just hit is Code Vein.
Oh,
the reason I bring that
Code Vein was in cloud. It was on xCloud when it was in beta, and I did try it.
Yeah, well, just the potential, not just in America, but like other regions, like a game like Code Vein. Just apply that because you have Game Pass Ultimate. You get xCloud. I mean, could you imagine that style of game with the anime look and everything like that in other regions like Japan, Korea, especially where their internet's just much better over there?
Oh yeah.
imagine playing that game. And even for us now, just because of back compat and how it works on the Series X, like I played that game on my Series X like the day I got it because I wanted to try it, and it's just so much smoother. It's ridiculous. And so, people that haven't played these games, they just, I don't know. It's just it's awesome to me. I didn't know Code Vein was going to hit Game Pass. I had no clue. But here again, eventually, I almost imagine like almost every notable game at some point is going to hit Game Pass. At least that's how I feel.
Yeah, it's
so
insane,
it's a crazy service. It's like you can't say enough about it. You forget all that comes with it. Plus the perks. Now they're doing these perks. Like I just added like a month free of Disney Plus to my like. It's like at what point is it too much? I don't know. It's insane to me. It really is. So
yeah. All right. With obviously having one of these services or these subscription services, that means you have to have content, right? You have to have your the demand that you have to have your content that you want to have your customers happy. You want people coming back, and with that, they made so many studio acquisitions over the years. That's kind of surreal. It's kind of crazy. So between 2018 is I think when they started buying everyone. Yep. And now with quote unquote the purchase of ZeniMax Studios and Bethesda, they're up to 23 studios now, I believe, right? 23, yep. I think so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm just gonna run through these studios here real quick, but I didn't get ZeniMax, but okay. So they have 343 Industries, The Coalition, Compulsion Games, Double Fine, The Initiative. Where was it? Okay, The Initiative in Exile, Mojang Studios, Ninja Theory, Obsidian, Playground Games, Rare, Turn 10 Studios, Undead Labs, World's Edge, and I guess their publishing is Xbox Game Studios, of course, and then they just bought ZeniMax, which has Bethesda. It's got help me out here, guys, because I don't have them up.
It's Bethesda, Machine Games, ID, or
ID,
whatever.
Yeah. So they got Bethesda. They got ZeniMax Online, Bethesda Works, ID Software. Yeah. So they got a bunch of studios. Dude. Sorry, it's so many.
Yeah, exactly. Fact, there's so many that you can't name them all. You know what I mean?
Oh, Arcane. Oh God,
Arcane. That's right.
Arcane. Like people are saying 20 and 20, and so many like haters, but so many haters like no. I'll try 23 and 20.
They got a Tango Gameworks. Yeah, they got so much here. Alpha Dog Games, Roundhouse Studios as well. So yeah, man, they really went all out, and they purchased all these major studios because I can already see the future of Xbox Game Pass. All these games coming in day to day, it's pretty much going to be insane. The value is just going to keep on growing. The value proposition for you as a consumer or as a gamer is going to be there. So what do you guys think about when Microsoft started making these acquisitions? Khan, you first, man. What do you think?
What did I think? Oh man, I was just getting more mind blown as the days gone on. Like with each one they got, especially when they got Playground Games, because I just saw the potential with them. Specifically, that acquisition was like, it's like, man, what are they gonna do? Because they pretty much made a racing game that was a simulator that was arcade. It was like the best things from both worlds of the racing games. Like I love Forza Horizon. I don't play it as much as I probably should or would like to, because I'm always playing other games that I feel like are a job, like Destiny. but
Destiny is a job, man. I miss a week and I feel like, damn, I'm way behind.
Dude, yeah, especially if you look at our clan, it's like I give up because they don't stop. Anyways, I was blown away when they bought them, and then obviously I remember doing like the pre-E3 show with like Boom and a bunch of people, and all I was saying is like, everyone was talking about the WB acquisition and being like, please, and then they go ahead and turn everyone, like, blow their mind and get ZeniMax. Dude, there's just so much in the whole narrative of Xbox has no games for like
Oh yeah.
years now. It feels like an eternity. I've heard that. Like I don't
Yeah.
know why it feels so long, but it's like, oh, before it was like, oh my god, I want an Xbox to play Halo and Gears and Forza, and now it's like, oh no, like Xbox only has Halo, Gears, and Forza, and I'm like, this is what all my friends wanted to play. I don't know how this turned into a bad thing, but
Yeah.
now they have that and a plethora more of games on the way. The fact that Avowed is going to be a game that like I feel like people are excited for but aren't ready for. Honestly, Obsidian blows my mind. There's just so many, dude. There's so many great games that are going to be coming down our way over just the next course of these couple years, and I feel like once they really start rolling,
Mm-hmm.
the eternal backlog that everyone has is only going to become more massive. Like it's
Yeah.
I feel like I'll never finish some of these games, but I'm okay with that as long as I have something to play always.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. How about you, Tempest, man? These studio acquisitions. What you guys think? What'd you think?
Gosh. It was impressive with just 2018 alone. Them making a new studio, and for me personally, Daryl Gallagher leading it, knowing what he did,
Right.
because of Tomb Raider. And
Tomb Raider,
you know what's so funny, dude? I swear, I know it sounds like I could just make it up and like, oh, I knew that was coming. But when they announced that he was leading the studio, and Phil Spencer was in an interview, and he said, "Hey, Daryl Gallagher, like his conversation to him, like, hey, come over, we got something. Let's see what you can something you can do with like what we got." I had this feeling. I was like, dude, it's Perfect Dark, Joanna Dark.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not bring in Daryl Gallagher? Look what he did with Tomb Raider,
Yeah.
So even back then, I was like, it's got to be Perfect Dark. Sure enough, man. I was like,
Just had it,
yes.
yeah.
So that, them making that studio, seeing the talent that they brought in right away, and Playground Games was a big one, knowing the potential. What really, really kicked me in the butt was Ninja Theory.
Ooh.
That was huge. I don't think they haven't made a bad game yet, and the talent there was undeniable. It's just simply undeniable, and seeing that they got them was it's a huge thing. I was like, wow, they're really doing this, and that didn't stop, dude. Okay, so that was big enough, but later on that year when they announced, forgive me for not really knowing too much about In Exile. I know about them now because Wasteland 3 is amazing, and I intend to beat it someday, which
That's
may
on my
never
list
happen.
to play,
But,
man.
yeah, because it's phenomenal. It really is. But Obsidian, dude, when they said they bought Obsidian, like that's
big.
Obsidian.
That's big.
Like that's big. And Double Fine was something I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I played some of the point and click adventures from back in the day, so I do know them. I do like what I've played of theirs, but I was like, okay, like that's cool. But listen, man, it was one of those moments where I had goosebumps for a solid 30 minutes, and I was in disbelief. I called, Boom. I was like, Boom.
Yeah.
He was like, did you see what happened?
I think everybody.
It was shocking.
Oh,
Everybody. It's like one of those moments where like, what were you doing when it happened?
Exactly.
Because I know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I think 98% of the games that coming from there are going to be exclusive. So I mean, I think it's it's their studios now, right? Just that alone, they bought an E3 press conference is what they did.
They literally did. That's exactly.
Yeah, they bought an E3 press conference, and the thing about it is, just like Ubisoft, probably even more so than Ubisoft, I played like every Bethesda game, every Bethesda studio or games under the ZeniMax, logo or brand. You know what I mean? I played them all, and so many of them are so good. We're at a point now where there's 23 studios, and we have confirmation from the top, even above Phil Spencer, that they're not done yet. So there's so much on the horizon. I think out of the 23 23 studios. I believe there's like 35 teams, I think, because most of these bigger studios have multiple teams, multiple projects.
Mm-hmm.
So I know for the last few years, because we're doing the Xbox One, look back,
Yep.
It feels like there's always been a bit of wait and see, or it's coming. And that sucks. We've been dealing with that forever, and it is still a little bit, wait, it's coming, because these games, they take a while to make, especially with what happened this year. And but it truly is coming. How can it not? 30, I think 35 teams. So that's technically speaking, when you say team, you mean game. So there's like 35 games in the works, pretty much.
Okay.
That's what it boils down to. 35 games. So it's coming, and because there is so many teams, I don't think they're going to feel pressured. They're going to pressure any of these teams to release before they're ready. I don't feel like they have to, because there's so much going into it that once they start coming out with these games, it's going to be a never-ending supply. And it's easy to forget that in Game Pass, for the last couple years, we've had an unending supply of games, like all the stuff that dropped this year alone. Last year, like starting with the Outer Worlds, into this year, Wasteland, Gears Tactics. I can't even name them. I literally can't even think of them all.
Some of them, Wilds is probably, it was a very good game too. I haven't finished. I got to go back, and I probably have to restart that game.
Oh, okay.
But it's so the Outer Worlds, the Outer Wilds. Like there's so many games. It's insane.
Yeah, there's so many, and we don't think of them as only first-party games, because they did have prior contracts, and like Outer Worlds came out on PS4, right? So you don't think of that. But that was a Microsoft studio. So we've been getting unending amounts of games already, and it's just going to continue. And some of these games coming out, I think, are going to be unbelievably big, like Avowed, from Obsidian. Imagine Obsidian with an unending budget, not worried about if they're going to be able to keep the lights on, in between projects, right? Imagine what that studio can do,
Oh, well, that was one of the main reasons too why I was so happy when they acquired Undead Labs. I love State of Decay. Like I love State of Decay, Yeah. So I was just like, I was so hyped for the second one. I mean, I still love the second game too, but like the potential of what the third one could be now with the backing of Microsoft with all the resources, I'm like, oh please, yes.
They announced their intent in that trailer. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they made their intent very clear, and I like the way it's going. So, but yeah, dude, I'll go on. Who's that?
Oh, nothing.
No. I thought Kyle was gonna say something.
I just even Bethesda alone, having even more funding than what they might have had to before, knowing that their bills are being paid by the big guy, like maybe their next Fallout game won't be so buggy. Like, I know that's a pipe dream because of, LOL Bethesda, but I mean, what if? It's just, it's crazy to think about. Dude, okay, let's be real. Do you realize that we have Master Chief and Doom Guy and Blazkowicz like in the same, like
same house.
Same house. They live together. They're like stepbrothers now. Like
I don't know if there will ever be a crossover, but I do see like collectibles of like you collecting, like in Doom when you were like collecting the Doomsday doll throughout like the chapter. Maybe he can pick up a Master Chief doll now or something like that.
Yeah.
A crossover would be kind of wild, man. That would be crazy.
Bigger than just a crossover, I would love to see some developers swap games. Like, I would love to see id Tech or id get their hands on like a Halo game, and then like 343 do a Wolfenstein or something. Let them play around with their IPs because it's all owned under the same place. I think that like how cool would that be? I mean, we're already kind of seeing it because a racing studio is making they made a whole new team, man, in Fable, for Fable. So, dude, I just. There's so many possibilities now, and everything they do, we're going to get for our subscription cost of Game Pass. Like, it's absurd. So
it is. It really is. Any last thoughts, Cotton, on Game Pass or the studios?
Just the fact that what he was saying is like people saying that, just wait, it's coming. It's been that talk of like, temper your expectations, wait, Xbox got it coming down the pipeline. But the fact that he's like, it's almost inevitable now, and it's not like all of this what ifs anymore.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost in stone that like, you're waiting, but at least you know what you're waiting for at this point, and the potential of what you're waiting for. It's not like you're just wishing and hoping that like, oh, next year they're gonna show us something. It's like they're gonna show us something, and it's probably gonna be phenomenal, and they might show us a few things because there's all of this brain power and resources that they have at their disposal now. So that's a big difference from just being like hopeful and telling someone to wait, especially someone who's not big into Xbox and might be someone who's like super hardcore into just single player IP games, and they go out and buy a PlayStation just because they know they're probably going to get another God of War type of thing. It's like
right,
you know what I mean, like that sort of. They own Bethesda. They have Obsidian. Look at all the track record of these, devs and what they've done, and that alone should be enough for people to be like, okay, I could buy into this because things are going to be coming down the pipeline. It's just a completely different narrative of like, what you're going to be waiting for in a sense, as opposed to just like sitting there and wishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talking about games that we potentially see coming from these studios and seeing what we can expect, let's talk about some of our favorite games of the Xbox One generation. That's right. So I asked you guys to make a list. I don't know if we can do top 5 right now. Let's do top 3. Top 3, because I think we're gonna discuss them a little bit. So Cotton, I'll go to you first. Start with the lowest one. All right. So go 3, 2, 1.
For this generation. Okay. The one that I didn't expect to love.
But don't just number 3 right now. And
number 3.
Number 3. What was your top favorite or your third favorite Xbox One game? Yeah.
The wild card for me was definitely Cuphead. I played that game through and through, and I was not expecting that game. I wasn't expecting to be the person playing that type of game.
Did you say Crackdown? I completely missed it.
I said Cuphead.
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 Okay. All right, yeah.
I love Cuphead. It's a fantastic game. Everything down to all the detail in the art, the skill. Like playing it, you can play through it on easy, and then the skill gap seriously increases. It's like if you're a completionist, it is a hell of a game to really get all of the pacifist levels done, where you're not shooting a single time, or you're trying to get the S rank and the stars and beating it on expert. It's like, and I loved playing it co-op, couch play. I don't know. It was just like a game that really caught me by surprise, not expecting to get a game like that,
right?
And then falling in love with it. That was definitely my wild card.
Okay.
That's number 3. This is tough.
Whoa. Think about your number 2. Tempest.
Okay.
Number 3 for you.
Is this Xbox marketed or Xbox first party or second party, or is this like anything that was on the console? So
not it. It can't be. No, it's gotta be Xbox. So if it was Xbox, if it was exclusive to Xbox for a period of time, sure, go ahead. Like obviously, but it was either Xbox first party or Xbox exclusive for a little bit. We could go with that.
Okay. Third place, I would say Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Ooh, okay. That's good.
That's a great game.
In many ways, still a better game than Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is a newer one. They're supposed to get better as they go. That game, you can put that in today on the Series X, or even just the Xbox One X, but the Series X especially, and it still looks out of this world. The story was phenomenal. Gameplay was great. I remember, like the back of my hand, like some of the dungeons in there were great, or dungeons, puzzle area, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
the area where you come across the wolves, and the big like hub area. I remember the music would start kicking in, the deep bongo drums would start playing. I'm like, oh god, I'm like, what's gonna kill me? That game was amazing. It was so awesome to see Lara Croft on the marketing material for Xbox. That game got a unusual amount of hate, like just raw, unadulterated hate. That game didn't get near enough attention. It didn't get near enough props. It didn't sell enough. Everything about the game was, to me, pretty much perfect, the game itself. But everything outside of the game was, I don't know, man, it was a mess. So many people hated it just because it was a timed exclusive to Xbox. And so undeserved, man. So undeserved. I felt so bad. They were making such an amazing game, and everybody just wanted to hate on it for no reason. Like, I think if that was a multiplayer game and just wasn't stuck on Xbox, it would have gotten a much better, I mean, call me controversial if you want, but it would have got a much better Metacritic, was sold better, just everything. So, but definitely that was such a treat. Awesome game.
You're number 3, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Okay.
Yep.
I like that game a lot too. I played extensively.
Great game.
Awesome game.
Yeah.
My number 3. I can't believe I put this on number 3 because I love it so much, but it is State of Decay, the series. Okay. I'll say the series. The first one, I first discovered the first one on the 360. I was really, really into The Walking Dead. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, this is literally like I'm playing The Walking Dead here. What's going on? Like, I love, like, in that game, the first time this happened to me, I started playing on the 360. Then I was really busy at that time with school and everything else. And then so I bought it again on the one. And then when I had my character, and I was doing something and I did not know this, and I was devastated. I was doing something and I got killed by like a juggernaut, and I didn't know it was permadeath. And I was just like, no, like I had like my character maxed out, but that feeling that I got, that I was just like, yeah, a lot of these games nowadays, they don't give you that. I don't know. That feeling of, okay, there's consequences to what you're doing. You got to take precaution and things like that. And that was like one of the games that I played in a long time, that I was like, okay, do I have enough health? Do I have enough this? Like, should I take somebody with me? You know what I mean? Like, what about if it just changed my mind? It blew my mind, actually. I was amazed by State of Decay. When the second one came out, I know a lot of people were turned off by, you were limited to how far you could go. Like, you were tethered
that was
to people, and like your story wouldn't progress depending on whose lobby you're in.
Yeah.
But
heck, my wife and I,
game. Yeah,
my wife and I made a good advantage of that. Like, if we needed extra materials and if we needed like a breather, because the game got intense, you'd start running out of stuff. And,
oh my god.
Yeah, we'd actually go back and forth between our worlds and use it as like a mechanic to further our place and have an easier time at it. So I actually prefer the fact that, your world didn't actually technically progress, because you got so many goodies when you got back to your own world. So it was, the game was awesome.
It's so good. Oh my god, it's so good. It was. I was actually streaming this like way back when on Twitch, and I was like, the first juggernaut you encounter is when you go help some farmers, or whether there was a doctor and you had to grab the doctor. And I remember this as clear as day, because at first you're just clearing like hordes of zombies, and then like a juggernaut comes in and he broke in the door, and then I was just like, oh shit. So he broke in, and then the door, it was like the living room, you can kind of go in circles, and I ran out of ammo, right? So I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? And I couldn't take any ammo. So what I kept doing is I had a frying pan, right? So I just kept running in circles and hitting him with the frying pan until eventually he went down. And it was like, I was just like, oh my goodness. It's like one of those little things that I was just like, oh yeah. So for me, number 3, State of Decay, without for sure. I really, really,
Nice.
really enjoyed that game. Cotton,
Nice.
back to you. Number 2. What you got
Okay.
for us?
So you're saying we're going on Xbox exclusive? We're not doing generation.
Not generation. Yeah. Not generational. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is just Xbox One. Yeah.
This
That
makes it
Xbox One family right there. If it was exclusive or just the Xbox first party family, what was your second most favorite game of the Xbox One?
Man, that's hard, dude. That's hard.
Oof.
But I think
It's not meant to be easy, Cotton. Okay,
know.
fourth quarter. I already
I
told
know-
you, fourth
I know,
quarter,
it's
baby.
fourth
Come on.
Quarter, I know. Dude, I'm not gonna. I wish I would have thought about Rise of the Tomb Raider because I absolutely loved the first one and the second one like so much.
Yeah.
But I was gonna have to say, even with all of its faults, at its release, to this day, I still dip and dabble and play a lot of Halo: The Master Chief Collection,
Woo!
and
Yep.
it just looks better and better.
Mm-hmm.
And especially now running on the Series X.
Just 120, baby.
Dude, it's crazy to be able to go back and play freaking Blood Gulch, and that sort of frame rate blows my mind. Like that is what got me into gaming. Like going to my friend's house, and either we were throwing a LAN party with like 8 different Xboxes and TVs, and doing like full blown bracket team deathmatch tournaments or capture the flag, or to playing on Xbox Live Connect set up through PC lobbies before it was even Xbox Live was a thing. Like Halo's like been it for me forever.
Mhm.
And it's just to have that all in one package, even when it did like totally launch very bugged out, it has been like something they've really kept working on it, and it's got like one of the cooler battle pass systems in it right now that I've seen, where it's a free thing, and say you missed season 1 battle pass, you can like, as you progress through getting challenges done in campaign or firefight or online or whatever, you can choose which rewards you want to redeem across even the past seasons that are done to the current season. I think it's really well done. I'm actually very impressed with it at this point. I wish it was released more polished, but what are you going to do? It was very ambitious to have all of those games on there. I mean, you had Halo 1, 2, and 2 was a brand new anniversary edition of the game that hadn't been released before that. And you had 3, 4, ODST was on there if you bought it at release, I'm pretty sure. And you know that now they have Reach on there. It's Halo. What else can I say about it?
Yeah. Tempest, you're number 2.
So 1 and 2 were so close, but just in how they just made just the joy they gave me while playing. My number 2 is Gears 5.
Oh, nice.
Gears 5.
It could be the series too. You know, if you say Gears series, that's fine too, because they did release 2, right? They released 4 and 5 this generation.
They did. Yeah, but specifically, I enjoyed Gears 5.
Okay.
Love Kate. I thought it was awesome. They made her the protagonist. Voiced by Laura Bailey. Gotta love her. Yeah, great. The graphics, the balls that they had to take this generation and give it the graphical fidelity that they had, but the goal was always 60 frames per second. Just literally the balls, the brass kahunas that they had to attempt that. Not even attempt it, but for the most part, they succeeded. Pretty much, yeah. Gears 5. The story also was way better than I think a lot of people give it credit for. The story retroactively made the ending of Gears 3 better. It even explained it a bit further to where Gears 3 didn't seem like such a I win button. Because that was the big problem with Gears 3 is like, how are they going to get out of this mess? Oh, there's a kill switch. That's essentially what it was.
Yeah.
Well, they gave more meaning behind the kill switch. I never expected to see that in Gears 5, and I did. And if you haven't played it yet, please, because it's phenomenal. But the ending, they did something that I've never seen a Gears game do. I've never made a single choice really in a Gears game other than do I want to go left or right, you know?
Right.
And oh boy, the choice that they made you choose was like, what?
It was left or right.
Oh, it was left or right. Yeah, you are right. You are right. You got me there. But what it was, I couldn't believe it. And the ramifications of it were like, what are they going to do? Like, literally, what are they going to do? I mean, I guess they have to almost give you two different versions of the game, unless they just decide that one was canon and one wasn't. They could do that, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, fantastic. Gameplay was perfect. Multiplayer was great. The RPG light elements, dude. I loved the second chapter because of the snowy look. I love the snow. I love that kind of setting. But yeah, phenomenal. And even to this day, they just literally released the DLC for it that made even the base Gears 5 game better. And I think they pretty much just released the best looking game currently on the market.
Yeah,
it's a game that came out like a while ago. Out of this world. It's shocking how good it looks. So that's my number 2. Mm-hmm.
Gears 5, huh? That's a good choice, man. That's a good choice.
Yeah.
My number 2, I'm with Cotton on this one, man. Master Chief Collection. That game was it was so ambitious at what they try to do, that you could be in a lobby and you can be playing any map from Halo, like Combat Evolved, Halo 2, Halo 3, it was just insane.
Throwing in the maps from the PC version of Combat Evolved.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. It was insane. Like, it was crazy. The fact that you can run any campaign, I was just like, you just go back and it was amazing. It was amazing. And my favorite mode, Team SWAT, all day. I love that mode. All day, dude. That's my favorite mode on any Halo game. And the fact that there's a lot more people playing that game now, it's just, it shows you the extent of the quality that they put onto to the Master Chief Collection. I know it was buggy in the beginning, but what you get on that game, and then that's like the face of the franchise right there. The face of like Xbox is Halo.
Yeah.
And for you to get all of their games, pretty much all of their games in one package, it just amazes me. Anytime anyone wants to play Halo on the Master Chief Collection, you just let me know. I'm available. Yeah, that's my number 2 too. Master Chief Collection for sure.
It's crazy. That game has the most value. Like, if for some reason you have an Xbox and don't have Game Pass Ultimate or whatever it is, if you're going to go out there and buy any game, I swear to you, there's no game that is like has that much in it.
It's got so much. Oh man,
4 or 5 games in there now.
Yeah,
that's crazy, dude.
Did they put? Did they put Halo 5 on there or no? They haven't.
No,
put
but
5
Reach
in
is
there,
in
right?
there.
Reach is in there. Yeah,
Reach is in there.
I forgot about Reach. I was just counting. No, wait. Did I count Reach? So there's 6 or 7 games technically.
ODST is in there. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 6.
4 Reach and ODST. Yeah, so there's 6. Yeah, 6 full games. Yeah,
mm-hmm. It's incredible, man. It's incredible.
Love
Halo,
the game.
Yeah, it's so good. And then, like I mentioned, like the fact that you can play literally like all the campaigns. Like, you can get the full Halo lore in just the Master Chief Collection.
You can play a playlist that literally takes you through all the racing levels through each campaign.
From campaign that's right. Like oh man, yeah,
it's crazy. The campaign playlist they have is unreal. If you feel ambitious enough to start the full Master Chief journey, and it's like 73 campaign missions. It's insane. It's so many, but
wow,
they have so many options, dude.
That's nuts. Yeah,
Master Chief Collection.
Putting it in perspective like that, because any one of those levels can potentially take like an hour, or
Oh yeah, for sure.
Crazy. Yeah,
it's good. All right, let's go. Here you go for all the marbles. Cotton.
Oh
I
man.
just want to say I'm excited for this because I have
Yeah.
no clue what you guys are going to say.
I kind of wanted to ask you guys, but I was like, no, I want to be, because I kind of wanted to get some footage so I can put it up.
Yeah.
But I said, no, let's all be surprised. Let's find out
Yeah.
together. Cotton,
Oh man.
not the ocho. We don't want the ocho right now. We want the uno. Okay.
Number uno. I think for Xbox like first party games, the one that I was most impressed by, Master Chief Collection was awesome, but it was a lot of nostalgia and a lot of game I've played already. What they did with the rest of the series, I'm not the biggest fan of, but what they did with Gears of War, I really, really, really,
Oh, nice.
really enjoyed. And Tempest really, I was like, I didn't know which one I want to say because I have a list that is for like the generation, which is a completely different list. But for what they did with Gears 5 specifically, like one, I got so excited for it. After 4 came out and it was kind of lackluster, I was the biggest fan of 1, 2, and 3. Honestly, all of them. I loved them all. Played through the campaigns on Insane. Tried to get every achievement. Played them co-op, couch play. Played them online. Did a Horde, like all 50 levels of Horde on 2 and 3. Loved it. And the way they kind of reignited my love for Gears with 5 is, I don't know. It's pretty impressive to me because it was pretty like I wasn't playing Gears at all. I don't really play it that much, but I do want to play the new DLC. It's the story, dude. I love the story of Gears. I'm not great at like the competitive stuff. So when I play like day to day on games, if it's not a game that is fresh that I haven't experienced yet as far as the story mode goes, I'm jumping right back into the games I'm good at as far as competitive multiplayer stuff goes. But like once I've checked off these boxes, like, okay, I've done as much Horde as I really want to do right now. I've done everything in the campaign I want to do right now. I didn't put Gears down until I beat it all the way through. I on co-op and played a bunch, you know what I mean? And it is one of the best looking games. It felt like the best looking game on my One X at the time when it came out. Was it early this year when it came out? I'm pretty sure, or was it? It was 2020, right? When it came out.
Gears? It was
Gears?
last. It was September.
2019. Yeah.
Yep.
Was it? Okay. It's been a long year. So, anyways, Gears 5, I'm gonna have to say is like, I love Gears as a whole, but what they did to like, I feel like rejuvenate the franchise and get people back into it and excited. I feel like they did a really well job. I feel like people were kind of let down with the story, or at least thrown a curveball with 4 that people weren't like, it wasn't what they were kind of expecting. And 5 is they had balls to do what they did with the story, and it does make the third one better. It gives you more depth into it. The fact that they give you major choices was something I was not expecting at all. The open world stuff was fantastic, and I just think it's going to get better from here. I was really, really impressed with Gears of War 5.
Yeah. That's 100%. And all right, my number 1. If Indy was still here, he'd probably know which one it is, guys. Ori. In Ori series, that's my number 1. The best for me, in my personal opinion. The best, like the best game on Xbox for sure this generation. Like that game just ticked like all the boxes for me, and it caught me by surprise because I'm not typically a platformer. Like I'll play them like here and there, but so when I played Ori and the Blind Forest, I was just like, oh my god, I love this game. Like instantaneous. Like it was just like, you know, when something like clicks with you, that was it for me. It was like love at first sight. I was just like, yes, I love this game. It was so good.
I need to play.
Oh my god, Blind Forest. Like I want to go back and play the first one, and then I played. Funny enough, like it has everything, man. This game, it tells you a story without literally saying a word. You know what I mean? Like there's no voice act. There's nothing like that. It's just, you know, what the way these creatures, what they, the sounds that they make, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing, and the way you feel, like the Blind Forest, man, like it hits you like hard too, like that. It just gives you, it hits you like all the feels, you know. And when I played the Blind Forest, I was like, oh my god, this game is amazing. And then they announced the second one, and I was just like, oh yes, like I can't wait for this game. And funny enough, when I played the second one, I had my son last year, 2019. So the Will and the Wisp was released earlier in 2020. I was just trying to rush through it, right? I was just like, oh man, I gotta get through this game just because, you know, time. I don't have so much time right now, and I wasn't enjoying it as much. And I was like, this is impossible. Like, what's going on? Is it me? Is it the game? Like, do I not like this game anymore? And no, it's just because I wasn't giving the game the respect that it deserved, right? So when I had the chance, I sat down, I restarted the campaign, and oh my god, the second one just blew my mind. Like what you could do. This game is beautiful.
Dude, it's so beautiful.
It's so the score, like the music on this game, it just hits you like so good. Like whichever area you're on, like the setting and like it fits, like it's perfect, man. It's so good. This game is so good. Each area feels like literally like you're on a different like section, well, which you technically you are, but like when you were down in the, it wasn't the crypts, but like I forgot what it was called. Jesus, there was a spider level, okay, where you were down trying to find something in the tunnels. It feels like a horror game. You know what I mean? Like the different kind of immersion you would get from different sections of where you were on the map, and the way you would be able to chain your combos, and the way you would feel afterwards. Dude, it was insane. The combat, they evolved the combat, they evolved the platforming. It was just like I love Ori as the main character. I love the side characters. Like it had a little bit of everything. And yeah, that's for sure for me. My number one is the Ori. I would say the Ori franchise, because Blind Forest and Will o' the Wisp was both released during this generation. So for sure, Ori for me. I mean, it's amazing. If you have not tried it, it is on Game Pass. You know, you can pay like $10 or $15, whatever you like. Yeah. And please give it a try. You know, it's you may fall in love with the series and the franchise just like I have. So.
Yeah.
Ori for me, man. It's so the soundtrack is so soothing, man. It's so good. Like the enemies are so good. The boss battles are good, and then the way the story unfolds, and then you realize, you know, why, you know, what's going on in that world, and why a certain creature acts a certain way. Like it's just, oh man, it's amazing. It's an amazing game. Even if you don't like platformers, like I mentioned to you guys in the beginning. I was never really a fan of, like, I played them, right? Yeah. But for a platform like this, it's technically an action game as well too. Like really grab me and pull me in like this. It's amazing, man. It's so good. Ori, Blind Forest, and Will o' the Wisps for the win. My number one for sure.
Nice. I need to play.
So good. Oh, dude, play it. You're not gonna be disappointed. And if you are, don't tell me, because I'll cry for real. Like. All right, so we got Xbox.
Did we do Tempest number one?
Oh,
yeah, I need to do my number one.
Oh, you didn't do your number one?
No.
Oh man, I went ahead of you. Jesus. Okay, here we go. I was excited. Yeah, I needed to get it out. So there you go. We saved the best for last. Tempest. You're number one, sir.
So, I was excited for this in ways I couldn't even explain. As a matter of fact, we were talking about the way the console looks. The original fat Xbox One, I got the, I guess, console edition of this game, and it was all white. I actually bought a whole nother Xbox for it. The all white looks phenomenal. And my number one for Xbox One this generation is Sunset Overdrive.
Oh man, okay.
That game, my biggest fault with it was too short, honestly. even to platinum it, if so to speak, or get the 100% at the achievements. It
Yeah.
only take like 25 to 30 hours max. But that game, I can't remember the last time of just pure unadulterated just enjoyment, just fun. That game, just riding around, grinding, wall running, the music, just the humor in it was awesome. The chick had like a real raspy voice. I don't know who the voice actress was, but I loved her voice. I don't know, man. Just everything about it was hysterical. The city itself was very, very, very expressive. Wonderful level design. Be honest with you, I played Spider-Man in 2018. I like Sunset Overdrive more, not just because it's an Xbox game, but because I just love it more. I've found the I don't know what you would call it, but it was fun to die because you don't know how you would respawn. There was different respawn animations. So sometimes I just let myself die because I'm like, I wonder how I'm going to laugh next,
Right.
The cosmetics in there were phenomenal. And hats off to them. They supported that game for quite a while afterwards. The multiplayer would have been a lot more fun if some of the weapons weren't so broken. When you're playing by yourself, it doesn't matter. You do what you want. But when you're playing with a bunch of other people and you're trying to get a high score and you want to use like a gun that takes some kind of aim, but then people are running around like the hairspray, launcher that just kills everything, so the multiplayer is a little, I guess that's another little knock on it. But yeah, they supported that in the DLC, like islands and areas they added were phenomenal. And they kept adding movement options. Like eventually they added a slew of not underwater, but water movement abilities. And that game is just fun, man. I can't remember the last time a developer just made a game and there's no reason why you could wall run. There's no reason why you could grind on rails. No explanation whatsoever. And then it didn't need one because it was just fun. It's just fun. And there is they played on pop culture a lot, whatever was big. I mean, you had Breaking Bad references, Game of Thrones references. The one area you go to, the one group of people you do quests for is a bunch of LARPers. And there is a mission where you have to escort a bunch of LARPers to do a certain task. And the whole time they had a LARPing, we would call it a minstrel or like a bard playing a song. And I can't remember the last time I laughed so hard. It was
that sounds
amazing.
Like it was a good time.
Amazing. Have you played it yet?
So it's funny because I started to play that game, but for some reason at that time when it didn't connect with me because I wasn't trying to do the whole grinding on rails. I wasn't trying to do all the swinging around and this and that. I was trying to run in the streets, and that's not how you play that game. That's definitely not how you play that game.
I'm thinking about that mission right now. I'm kind of laughing at myself because the bard singing the song for you gets killed. And so a chick that's funny enough, voiced by Laura Bailey, picks it up and she starts going on. She's like, "Oh, now that he's dead, I can finally do this the right way." And dude, I love that game so much. The fact that we might not ever get a second one. Me.
I definitely want to try that game though. I definitely want to give it another shot.
Yeah, give it another go and play the game that they played. It's not one of those games where you play like you want. No, you got to play it their way. They made it a certain way.
Right.
If you can deal with that and you start playing it like how they kind of intended to, it's a blast. The gameplay is great too. But I just love the humor, man. It blew me away. I love that game so much, and it was so.
I like the humor from the get go too. Like the humor was there for me for sure. Yeah. So that was my number one. That was such a fun ride. Yeah. All right. Awesome, man. That's awesome. So we got a lot of good games. So if you thought that was easy, let's make it a little hard. Okay. Cotton, your game doesn't matter. Okay. As long on the Xbox One system. So third party, anything counts. Okay. What was your game of the generation?
Man, The game of the
The
generation
game.
for
What was
me?
your favorite? Yeah, what was your game of the generation for you?
I mean, it has to be Red Dead Redemption 2.
Woo!
It
Solid.
has to be.
Tell
Because
us
That's a
why.
game. That's a game that since Red Dead Redemption 1, I hadn't played a game that I was so invested in, like through the story. Like when I played that game, I feel like I had just got my Scorpio edition on my Xbox, like just
Oh,
barely
yeah.
before then. I had just got my OLED LG TV. Like it was the best thing I had ever seen, right? I just moved out here to Denver too. So I'm like
Yeah.
living by myself, don't know nobody. I'm going to work, coming home, playing Red Dead. Living
That
breathe
sounds awesome.
Red Dead. That's all I was doing. And I literally man, like the detail in that game
Yeah.
at the like right when this game is like one of the best looking games to me. The story, and how good Red Dead Redemption is, the first one, and how attached I was to that story. To hear that they were gonna do a second one, I was like very like, oh my god, like please, it has to be perfect because the first one is so good. Like anything short of perfect is gonna be like, I don't know. I want it to be so good, and the way the fact that it was like a prequel to it and it leads right into Red Dead Redemption, I don't know. There's nothing like that. Like there's a few things that I've seen like in any sort of entertainment medium that it's like a prequel that's done so well that it makes me want to jump right into the to the whatever the sequel was or the original. It's so I was just completely immersed. I was caught off guard in certain things. I did every side quest I could do. I think I'm at like I'm kicking myself because I'm still at like 98% complete overall. I think I have like a few gamble missions that I need to like become positive in and like positive like I don't know. There's like weird little stats I have to do to be like at 100% complete. But I literally didn't set that game down until I don't know what happened. I think PUBG came out and that blew the top off of like shooters and gaming, and like they had to take something that crazy to rip me away from Red Dead. Like I could not put it down. The voice acting, just the way
amazing,
the CGI is fantastic. The music is fantastic. The tracks that the freaking wagons leave in the mud blow my mind. Hunting all the legendary creatures, everything. I did everything. I was in love with that game. It is the game that defined this generation for me easily.
Awesome, man. That game is so good. It's so good. Like the first time you skinned an animal, I was like, holy shit. I was like, am I allowed to stream this? This is too realistic. What's going on here? Oh my god, the amount of details that was put into that game is just it's so good, man. It's so good. And I know it's a slow burn and it takes a lot, but you stick with it.
Up, bro.
Oh, the story that it tells.
I
like
tell you,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, going for the legend. First of all, the legendary animals, I love hunting for them, right? But the damn fish, like, I can't fish I can't fish. All right, right now, I'll tell you right now. I used to just grab dynamite. I used to throw it in the water. I was like, here you go, boop, there it is.
Why not?
So yeah. But man, that game is incredible from the everything you said. Yeah, I completely agree. From the voice acting, the graphics, it's amazing. Go ahead, Tim. Sorry, but
the point where I realized that that game even surpassed the medium of some movies, high caliber movies, and the fact that they just, when I realized they went the extra mile, like more than I can express, is when you're riding back from the island and they're playing that song Unbroken.
Oh man,
I never wanted a horse ride to end. I didn't want it to end. I didn't. That song was like amazing, like haunting, out of nowhere. I mean, they didn't do anything like that prior in the game. Just that one spot. They just had that song playing for that ride back because of what he just went through. When I when I was going through that, I was like, this is next level. Like, this is crazy. Like,
It's
this is
a full-on
insane.
experience. It's like
Yeah.
if I could get that sort of feeling of from a movie, it's hard to get that, especially the slow build up, dude. Like I have a lot of friends I tell them to play, and they're like, "Man, I'm just like ranching cows. Like I don't know what I'm doing." I'm like, "Bro," and he's like, "I'm literally riding this horse around all day." I'm like, "Bro, just like if you're not the one who wants to go complete everything on the map, just keep going to that main mission because like eventually you're gonna get something's gonna happen that's gonna get
It's
you.
gonna pull you in. Yeah,
It's gonna get you." And the fact that they made Arthur a character that is like. I felt like in all of the advertising, I was like, he kind of seems like he's just kind of tough. Like, I don't know how I'm going to like, I loved John Marston. I loved his whole story. And like, like, I don't know which character I like anymore. And that's so like, which one I like more, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's hard. That is so hard to do with a character that you love. And they blew the top off. Like, I was hyped for that game already. Not only playing Red Dead 1 through full completion 100%, but I also got like 10 prestige online and had like the zebra donkey and like I played that first one an insane amount, you know what I mean? So for this game to be what it was to me, it was crazy.
Yeah.
That mission was so funny, man. When you were going after the animals, no, when you're going after the circus animals, for the guy who's like, he was like, "Oh, you have to go get my my zebra, you know, and you have to go get my lion, and this and that." Oh, it was hilarious. It was so good. That whole game, man, top notch. Like it deserves all the credits, all the accolades that it got because it was truly amazing, man. That's an awesome pick, Cotton.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, Tempest. Go to you next, man. Your game that defined the generation for you.
The generation, as in Xbox One, or like this decade?
Xbox One. We're sticking traditionally with Xbox here.
I don't know, man. If technically speaking, I am playing an Xbox One game, I might actually go there. I haven't even beaten it yet, so my opinion can change. I might go there, dude.
That's the only one.
Oh boy.
I'm enjoying. I gotta be honest with you. I'm enjoying Cyberpunk so much. I can honestly say I haven't enjoyed a game this much since Mass Effect 2. That's why I asked about the decade, because I don't know which one I like more, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's nothing technically speaking new, but if somebody that likes sci-fi and stuff, okay, I won't go there. That might be cheating a little bit. Plus, my opinion could change. Haven't beat it yet, so I won't go there. I was about to, but I won't. Honestly, man, from there, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I'd say.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't play Odyssey, so tell me everything. Go ahead. Don't hold nothing back.
It's now that was technically that's the most like un-new game ever, but to me, it was the excitement of everything new. I was literally talking to Courtney about this today. I was like, that game was so much fun because every boat ride was exciting because I physically took a boat full of people, and I rowed or sailed across the ocean to a distant island, and that island got bigger and bigger,
right.
And before you know it, you were at that island, and you dock, and there's a full like town city there, huge. You run across the island, and the island is massive, like massive. Of course, you can get from point A to point B pretty quick because you can summon a horse and just run, right? But the sheer scope of everything and how smooth it ran, it was only 30 frames per second. I get it, but like I played it on the Xbox One X, and the fact that you can just go from any island you see, it was the first game I ever really played where it dawned on me that if I see it, I can go to it. And
that's huge,
man.
That's
awesome.
And there's a mountain in there that took me 15 minutes to climb. Like, I'm serious. It's the tallest mountain in the game. And I did there was a cool, like, little Excalibur Easter egg there too, by the way. But
nice.
On the top, I'm looking around, and it's clear as day. Anything you see, And I started looking at the islands, and I was like, I was there. I remembered what I did there. And it's out of this world that you can do that. That was the impressive thing to me. The other impressive thing is when you first start the game and you get to ruins under the water, that crystal clear, beautiful blue water. Mm-hmm. You could see the sharks. The sharks were cool alone. But I jumped in said water, and 200-300 fish swimming all around me. Just fish everywhere. I've never seen so much aquatic life in any game ever. It was crazy. I was like, whoa, I was not expecting that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, 30, 40 hours in the game. I've seen whales while sailing. Well, there was this one, little dock I was at. I was swimming around this little, I think it was like a lighthouse or something, right? Yeah. And I hear this sound. I'm underwater, going for some treasure chests, and I hear this sound, and I'm like, dude, what the heck is this? I started getting creeped out because it sounded so like it getting louder and louder and bigger. I'm like, what is going on? I'm underwater, and all of a sudden, a freaking whale swims right next to me. I mean, right by me. The thing was massive and was making the whale sounds. Like, that's what that sound was. I always thought they were just window dressing, right? I always thought they were just something you see when you're swimming across the ocean, But no, the whale just went right past me, blew me away. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. The third thing about that game was just every island was slightly different. Every island had kind of a theme to it, and all beautiful. So the constant discovery of that game is what I loved so much. Cassandra, amazing. The voice acting, the personality. That game had tons of humor in it. I was not expecting that. Some of the quest lines in that game made me crack up laughing. Very, very, very funny. I can't say enough good things about it. The combat was phenomenal. You're constantly looting, constantly getting amazing loot. So I randomly went to an island on the edge of the map. There was a giant statue of what looked like Poseidon. I get there. I'm like, well, this is cool. I see a big lion, a huge lion. It was like a legendary lion or something. I'm like, why is this here? No idea why it's here. Pretty epic fight, because I played that game on the hardest mode, so everything was difficult. Yeah. So a difficult fight. I'm like, oh man, I barely survived. I'm like, why was it here? It was guarding a chest. That chest opened up, and I got a polearm, and it was in the shape of a trident, of course.
Oh, nice.
And I looked at the stats, and lo and behold, the stats were infinite breath.
Oh,
you can breathe underwater.
Yeah, that's cool.
So cool. And that's why I game that right. Stuff like that. That's why I game. I wasn't expecting that. No idea it was there. I had to fight a huge lion on this random little tiny island with a Poseidon statue. Yeah. That's what he was guarding. Freaking staff. I didn't even know that ability was in the game, but infinite breath. So I could just be underwater as much as I want, dude. Super cool.
Aquaman.
And super cool. And that water does look. I haven't played Odyssey. I do have Odyssey, but I haven't played it yet. And I was actually debating on playing it before I played Valhalla. I do remember though in Origins when I towards the end of the game you do go somewhere in the map where you can the water is extremely clear. I forgot where you go in Origins, but so Odyssey I can already picture that water looking like that beautiful blue clear water. I can see it already because they had a little bit of that on Origins. So yeah, man,
right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just hope. I hope one day it gets the 60 frames per second treatment, because that is the only downfall with that game. Is
I wish they would just unlock the frames. The Series X could probably run that thing at 60, no problem.
Probably, it could probably get pretty close. Yeah, no, it's that's my only beef with it. It's capped at 30 frames a second, man. But I like Odyssey more than Valhalla. In fact, I liked Odyssey so much. I was expecting to like Valhalla more simply because I like Vikings. But what I've enjoyed so much in Odyssey is that general sense of discovery and wow, this is beautiful. Wow, this island looks different than the next, and it's just as pretty.
Yep.
Not the case in Valhalla. You're in England, and England is ugly. So, although I like the game, I don't like England, and you're stuck there for 80% of the game, from what I know. So, yeah, Odyssey's great, and I'd say that's my number one.
That's yours.
I've heard
huh?
nothing but good things about that game.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. I think I have like tomorrow's my last day before, and then I gotta go. I'll go back to work on the 8th. So I got a lot of time. So I'll be
Nice.
trying a lot of games.
Sweet.
But yeah, man, my number one. This is
Let's hear it.
so tough because I'm like, it's like nitpicking, right? It was between Red Dead Redemption 2 and The Witcher 3 for me. Like both, come on, man, both of those games are like unbelievable. Like if I had to recommend one of those two games, I'd recommend either or. But for me to pick one, I have to say it's The Witcher 3 for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
That game just does too much right, man. It's an amazing game. The storytelling on that game and the sense of discovery that you get, it's kind of like where you're explaining with Odyssey, Tempest. You do these side missions. You go to these certain locations where you have no idea what you're gonna get there, and then when you go there, you discover something amazing. You had no idea. Some of the best missions in this some of the best storytelling, not some of the best, like some of the best side missions I've ever played were on these games. Like the story, like one side mission can take like 3-4 hours or even more because it's that much in depth. And what you have to do, like the prep you have to do for your battles, you gotta be careful. It's not just a hack and slash. It has everything that Odyssey and like what Red Redemption has as well. You have to pay attention to detail. You have to go and you have to like understand your opponent. You have to. That game is amazing. The characters, Geralt, Ciri, Yennefer, like Valdemir, and all of them. They're amazing. The Bloody Baron, that game is incredible, and the stories that it tells is just amazing, man. If I could pick that game for me, just like checked off all the boxes for me. I was just like, yes, I could live in this world right here. And Geralt as a character for me, he was just incredible. He's there, and I think that Killing Monsters trailer pretty much describes that whole world. It's probably like one of my favorite game trailers of all time. It's insane. It's so good. The way you can craft, the way you can, you're like the dual swording. One is to kill monsters, one is to kill like pretty much anything else. Humans, just like regular. It's crazy, and how there's always a gray area on The Witcher. Like your actions, you never know what your actions are gonna do. Like there's a story early on. I think the name of this quest is called like Family Matters. And the choices you have to make during that
You talking about the Baron?
story. Yeah, it's part of the Bloody Barons campaign. Yeah. And it's just insane how you can sacrifice a group of people, or you can free this other thing, but whichever one you choose ends up having consequences later on that's gonna like really affect this world. You don't see that in a lot of games. Like some games do that, but The Witcher did it in a way that it just like blew my mind. Like your actions are really actually shaping the way that this world is gonna end up being, and some of those consequences, or some of your actions, or some of the things you do, you don't see what happens until like 10-15 hours later on. So like you can't change it. You know what I mean? And that's so clever. You can't just let me reload the save. No. You made this choice.
Something
and you gotta
just
live
like
with
that
it.
just happened to me in Cyberpunk, and I'm like looking through saves, and I'm like, dog, that's like 15. That's so far back. I can't do it. I can't go back. Like I'm stuck with the choice I made, and that's. I really need to play through The Witcher, dude, because I'm lacking. I'm super lacking on that. I probably will after I see how great Cyberpunk is.
Not to take this left, great pick. I just want to point something out.
Yeah.
Your game of the generation started off as a broken, buggy mess, just like
Uh-huh.
Cyberpunk.
Just like Cyberpunk, 1000%, 1000%.
I
You
feel
know,
like because unanimously everybody feels Witcher 3's automatically in everybody's top of list. I mean,
yeah,
it would make it in like one of mine,
yeah.
for sure. And yeah, it's
Honestly, yeah. It
yeah.
started
So
off.
I
It was buggy, like on PC, everywhere. It didn't matter where you
Mhm,
played. It was the
mhm,
inventory management at the beginning of that game was terrible, terrible,
yeah.
to the point where I was just like, nah, I'm just gonna outplay this in a few months, and which I did, and then now I'm going for the 1000 achievement on it on Xbox. So that
I
game's
need
incredible, man. I'm telling you, if you enjoyed Red Dead and for all the qualities that Red Dead has, The Witcher has those as well. And right now,
like
if you have a
have a,
Series X,
oh yeah,
bro, it's running on in 60. Just play it on performance mode, 60 frames. It's got the auto HDR. Like bro, it's amazing. The
I think I
story
got
that it
some
tells,
people just
like
laying around.
yeah, that game is it's just like Red Dead. It's a slow. For me, it was either The Witcher 3 or Red Dead. Red Dead Redemption 2. It was absolutely beautiful, man. Everything that game did was awesome in my eyes. But yeah, The Witcher 3 takes the cake for me, and it's a great game, man. I highly recommend it to anyone.
Awesome.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
guys,
check.
it was a great night. We talked a lot about the Xbox One, everything that happened throughout throughout its let's say its life. Now
Right.
we're onto the Series X. And our closing thoughts here. What did you think overall of the Xbox One generation, and how do you see the future of the Xbox platform or ecosystem going? Kyle, I'll go to you first, man.
Oh man, I think it's up from here for Xbox. Honestly, I think the generation, before it started, they were on like the highest high. The 360 was like not only like my prime time in my youth for playing games, but it felt like one of the best times to be playing games. Like just the birth of the online multiplayer, competitive, all of that, dude. Loved it. And where they went from there, it was like such a rough start for them to be back at this point where it feels like there's nowhere left but like for them to do better. Like nowhere left but up for them to go from here. Like they have all the potential. It would literally take world class, like just idiocracy to mess this up for them because they have everything going for them. They have the services, they have the funds, they have the talent, and they got eyes on them. They got the new console. I'm impressed with what they were, man, how they were able to turn it around, and almost all of the negative narratives that you had against Xbox at the beginning or halfway through the Xbox One generation are null and void now. And
Yeah.
I'm just impressed. Hats off to the team there. Hats off to, everyone who's doing the marketing. You have people like Matt Booty and Phil Spencer, of course, and then Aaron Greenberg, people who they're trying to be as transparent as they can be, but also give people what they want. And that's hard to do without, ending up stepping on yourself. So, not any company is perfect, but I think they're doing a good job and I'm impressed. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Awesome, man. Tempest, from past to present to the future. What do you think about the Xbox?
Well, I think what Cotton said rings true. All up from here. They have so much going on, as we stated earlier, that it is. I can't even imagine how much of a powerhouse they're going to be undeniable in a couple years from now. Absolutely undeniable as the giant that they are. It's a shame that it took Phil Spencer fixing this. I don't think we ever should have been in the situation that we were in. The generation as a whole, as it played out, there was a few years there where it was dry to the point where it was bothersome. I think every Xbox fan would admit to that.
Yeah.
It was irritating, but you know what? The first few years were great as far as games go. Lacks power. Then we got the power and locked the games. I think we're getting both this time around. And overall, though, most of my favorite games, and I mean, when I say game of the generation, I wasn't just talking Xbox One. My Assassin's Creed, I liked it more than anything I played on PlayStation or first party,
Right.
for Xbox. So most of the games I played and spent my time with were multi-plat games, to be honest with you, anyway. So,
Yep.
it was an okay overall. It was an okay generation. I don't think anything's ever going to top the 360 generation. That was my favorite console of all time. Might always be that way, might not. But I think, like I said, in a couple of years, I think they will be undeniable. I truly think right now, yeah, Sony has sold because there has been more to sell. I guess Sony sold more PS5s at the moment, at least in America. And I don't even know. I don't really think console sales are going to be the gauge of success this year.
Right. I agree.
I think before this generation we're going into, I said it earlier in the show, and I mean it. I think it's this generation where when you mention gaming, you don't call it Nintendo anymore, or you don't call it PlayStation just because it's gaming. You're going to call it Xbox.
Yeah.
Or, something of that, or you're going to say Game Pass, something related to the Xbox. Is how you're going to speak on games. And I feel like eventually it's going to get to the point where if you know somebody games at all, they're going to have Game Pass. And you're going to have that, and you're going to have that in common with them. Any gamer at any point in time is going to have Game Pass. I don't know if they're ever going to reach that 2 billion gamer thing. I doubt that. But I wouldn't be surprised if a few years from now, especially when all their first party games start getting cranked out, Elder Scrolls 6.
Yep.
Yeah.
If it's exclusive, if it's on Game Pass, that's the point. That's the moment where everything changes. Everything. That's my take. Yeah.
Okay.
So, super exciting.
Man.
I could be more excited.
The future looks bright for Microsoft and Xbox, man. I can tell you that. I wholeheartedly agree with both of you. It feels like one of those movies that we watch that, you have, you're real cocky at the beginning, you get knocked down, and then you have your redemption. You know what I mean? You got to get back up, you have your redemption story, and that's exactly what's happening to Xbox, in my opinion. I think the stars have aligned for them to really, really have a tremendous generation coming up. They have kind of like what Cotton and you Tempest have said. Excuse me. They have the service. They have one of the best subscription services out there right now. They now have a powerful enough console, and they have the studios to take advantage of that console, and then they have the studios to put out the content, the games that they so desperately need on a consistent time basis. If you think about it, when Phil Spencer started talking about that, they could potentially see a game coming from their studios every quarter. Now that's coming into fruition with as many studios as they have. So they have everything lined up for them to have a tremendous generation. They started out rough with the Xbox One. They corrected their course. They turned that ship around. It takes a while to turn that ship, but I think they finally done it, and the future it's looking bright, not for Xbox gamers, but for gamers in general. I think there's gonna be a lot of companies, and we see that already, just looking into what Microsoft's doing and trying to replicate that. So if Microsoft is seeing benefits and advantages of doing this, I think it's a win for all of us as consumers. But with that said, I think we can all agree the Xbox future looks bright. But it's been a good show, guys. I appreciate you guys coming by. We've been here for a little over 2 hours. I think we covered everything that I kind of wanted to cover. Games, what we thought about everything else in the beginning of the generation to now, and how the future looks like. But really appreciate you guys coming by, man. It's been a while since we've done one of these. I wanted to get a show right before the end of the year, and hopefully we can continue doing this. It'll be awesome to keep doing these live shows and just talking games with you guys. I really enjoy it. Shout out to everyone in the chat. I appreciate you guys coming by. Stubbs, thank you so much, my brother. D&D Gamer, VJ, J Mo Money was here. Jamie Richardson. I know Nightwolf was here too at one point saying hello. So shout out to all you guys. I really appreciate you guys coming by. And without further ado, Cotton, man, it's been a while, but hopefully we can, start chatting a little bit more up online on Twitter. Tell everybody where they can find you, man.
No doubt, dude. I've been kind of non-existent on Twitter. I've been all over the place this year, but one of the best things has been getting to sit down, talk some games with you guys. It's been like, I have the best time when I'm here on your show, dude, or talking with you dudes anywhere, whether it's off the air, on there. Love doing it. Would love to do it whenever you guys are trying to throw it together. Just let me know. Always down.
Absolutely.
Shout out to everyone who showed up, of course. I've just been working, and the Ocho's getting busy. NBA starting back up. Got the NHL starting back up on January 13th. I'm actually going into tear apart the basketball court tomorrow and make ice for hockey. So busy stuff. Other than that, I'm just trying to beat Cyberpunk all the way through.
Nice.
All the way through. I'm at 70 hours, have no more side jobs or local blue missions anywhere on the map. So
I wish I had 70 hours in it.
Oh man. Here I am. I don't even want to say like I got 4. Damn.
The first thing I did when I got out of the prologue was hit every blue mission on the map, and then I did all of the side missions. So, and as you complete the campaign, more side missions pop up, but I run through them. I love the game. Anyways, thanks for having me, dude.
Absolutely,
let me know when you're trying to do another show. Always great talking to you and Tempest. You too, of course, man.
Heck yeah.
Awesome. Tempest, man. You too, man. We haven't gamed in a while, man.
We
gotta get together.
I haven't played any multiplayer stuff since I think my daughter's 6.5 months old, so that's how long it's been since I played multiplayer.
I know it's tough, man.
Dude, I know. Yeah, it just changes everything, and
I really appreciate you coming by and being here, man. Just tell people where they can find you, talk to you, and
I've said it before. It's a blast being on your show, dude. So laid back, so much fun. You do a good job hosting. It's great. Love it. So ask me back anytime. If I can make it, I will 100% be here. Also, to Stubbs, man, I didn't mean real England was ugly. I'm just saying, you go from Odyssey, which is literally sun, like it's sun, rainbows, beautiful, clear blue seas. And then you get into, Valhalla and you're rolling around with pigs and shit and stuff. And it's just like, I haven't seen the sun but like one time the entire time playing. Like, it's just such a shift from what I loved in Odyssey. I didn't mean the real place wasn't fantastic. So, hopefully one day I get to go there. But yeah.
Oh, me too.
Just to clarify.
That's on my bucket list. I got to go there and watch a derby.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you play you play Odyssey, and you swear these people are like have Dove shampoo, and they're rolling around in like fine soaps and lavish, luxuries, and then you
rose
play
petals
Valhalla.
all throughout the air everywhere. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and you play Valhalla, and it looks like some dude literally showered in dirt, and it's just a totally different feeling. I just wasn't expecting it, but yeah.
I got you. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming by, gentlemen. It's been a great show. Again, big shout out to everyone in the chat. You can find all of their info too. I linked it on the show description, so please make sure you go ahead. If you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe to these guys and follow them on their social networks. I'm Cybernox. This has been the end of the show. I really appreciate you guys coming by once again. As always, guys, stay safe out there and keep on gaming.